Welcome to this recording of information about coaching calls that I've done with many Amazon sellers, whether they just started out £0 or they're doing 20,000 a month. This is information which I've shared already on a live coaching call with Al Carton from Seller Tools, and unfortunately we had some technical difficulties. So today I'm recording that information again to share with anyone who maybe watched it and wanted to take some notes but forgot, or maybe you didn't get a chance because maybe you were busy or weren't able to jump on the live call. So if you're ever interested, again, do keep an eye out on Fast Track FBA or Seller Tools with Al Carton, and you can see live videos, live recordings, or live webinars with many people with different information that you can learn from about Amazon journeys, and you can learn that will help your Amazon business. So today I'm very much talking about the coaching calls that I've done over the last couple of months with many different people, from starting out right through to six figures, 5, 6 figures every month. And some of the advice that maybe I've given them, but maybe that you can take away to help grow your Amazon business and to really kind of think about where you're going and pushing you to that next step. So what I'll do today is talk you through the kind of issues which I've seen, and how I kind of structure those coaching calls, but what feedback and advice I offer. So the first thing I always, and I mean the first thing I always ask people is, what is your goal? You're doing this Amazon business, you're selling on Amazon, you're taking a risk, and hey, well done. But what is your goal from your business? Now, a lot of us, should we say, would have a job, maybe we're doing Amazon on the side, maybe now full time, maybe we've quit our job, or maybe we've made redundant, or something's going on, and we've decided to take that risk. And fantastic, like generally, well done. But we've started this Amazon business, and we haven't really clearly defined why. Like, what do we want from it? And if I give you an analogy, you would never get in your car and just drive. Well, you might do sometimes, but rarely do you do. And you'd always get in your car and have a destination. I'm going to the shop. I'm going to Scotland. I'm going to Asda to do some RA. But you know where you're going. But a lot of people get into their Amazon business and they don't really think about where they want to be. So what's the bigger picture? Yes, we want to make money, but we don't even really clearly define that. But the question I'd ask you is, where is the goal? What is the ultimate goal for you that you want to achieve right now? That when you've done that, you can honestly say to yourself, I am successful and I am happy. And remember, this is a race only against you. It doesn't matter if anyone's doing 1 million or if anyone's doing 10,000 or 1,000. It is only what matters to you, and that goal clearly defines that. So, and it might be, say for example, my goal when I first started my Amazon business was that I wanted a business that I could run whereby I wasn't involved in the day-to-day operations. But what I really wanted to be is I wanted to be remote, and I wanted to have £2,000 income per month. That was it. And don't get me wrong, that was hard. I worked 50 hours a week to get there. But I had to make that happen. And now I'm very lucky in the fact that after working for 2.5, 3 years on my Amazon business, I'm now out here in Vietnam running a UK based company with completely remotely selling on Amazon, doing 6 figures a year. And that's because I set myself a very challenging goal to start with. And I've turned down many good opportunities in the meantime that looked very nice, shiny objects. But actually, instead, I said, no, I know where I want to be, and I can't do that because that isn't going to help me. That's just a short term fix. I need to put in long term solutions. So, for you, is have a goal, have a destination, really know what you want, clearly define this. Think about SMART targets. SMART targets are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timed. So write down, is my goal specific? Is it realistic? Is it achievable? Is it measurable? Is it timed? Do I have a time limit on it, like when I want to achieve it by? And ask yourself the question, when you get to that goal, when you think about, all right, when I get to that goal, will you be able to say, I've achieved the goal, yes, or I've achieved the goal, no? Because if it's a maybe, it isn't a good goal to work towards. It isn't clearly defined. It needs to be, I've achieved the goal, it's very targeted, and I know exactly that I've done it, and yes, I've done it. Fantastic. So, my first question, and the first thing I'd always say to everyone is, what is your goal? Like generally, what is your goal? And do you have it clearly defined? And I'd say print it out, stick it everywhere, put it on your background. That is why you're doing it. And the reason is in this business, you're going to have bad days. Days where you really question why you're doing it. Days when you say, I might as well just pack it in and go get a job. But what you're going to do is you're going to look at that goal and go, that's the reason why I'm willing to struggle. I'm willing to take less money than the people around me because I know in the future, when I achieve that goal, I'm going to be happy. So that goal is going to spur you on in times of, say, hardship, but also as well, it's going to give you direction. It's going to allow you to drive your car where you want to be, and it will get you there quicker than if you just meander. So the next thing I kind of talk to people about is you need to commit to your business. Now, a lot of people start an Amazon business on the side. They start dabbling, and that's fine. That's not a problem. But if you're going to be doing this, take it seriously. Like, really take it seriously, because my God, this can be life-changing for you. And hey, you're here today watching information about a coaching call, about improving your business. You are someone who takes this seriously. So the question I kind of ask and around committing to your business is, how much time can you spend, or do you spend, on your Amazon business? Not so much can, but do you spend? And I ask them to say, look, in the last 3 weeks, how much time have you spent every week? And you'll be amazed by the results. So what I'm not looking for from here is, oh, maybe I might be able to spend 20 hours. No. I want realistic. I want to say I'm spending 5 hours on average per week on my business, if you're part-time. And then what you say to you is, those 5 hours, allocate. Really allocate those 5 hours into time in your week. So if it's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I do an hour a night. Literally, if it's like 7 to 8 o'clock, that is Amazon time. That is your Amazon business time. That is not time that you spend doing something else. That is time that you spend solely on your Amazon business. And that is time that you switch off your phone. You switch off everything apart from anything related to work, and you do only work. Because what you want to do is you want to turn off all distractions, turn off everything, and focus and commit to your business. Because if you've ever tried, and I'm sure we all have, if you try doing one thing and another thing at the same time, if they both take 20 minutes and you try doing it at the same time, you end up spending an hour. So it just doesn't work. Really make it simple, break down your time and allocate that time to that business. And the idea is you spend the time in your business for 1 hour a day or however long you can allocate, and then when you're finished in your business, you turn it off and you go off and carry on the rest of your life. But you're not focusing on your business and worrying about it, because you know you've done what you set out to achieve in that time. So really commit to your business and really make sure that you allocate sufficient resources to manage your business. Now, we talk about the big goal, we talk about committing to your business. Now, what I generally do with a lot of people is to say, once we've defined the big goal and we've defined how much time we've got, let's break that big goal down into steps. Let's break it down. So it might be like, if you've never sold on Amazon before, we're going to ask you, right, your first goal might be quite simply, I just want to literally watch some YouTube videos about how to do it. Then my next goal is going to be, I just want to buy 3 items and I want to ship them in and I want to see how that shipping process works. Then my next goal is to sell the 3 items and get the money back. And so that's just understanding how the ecosystem works. And that's really simple, and you can do them. And then people might have goals whereby it's growing from taking, just selling a few pounds to saying, look, now I want to make my first £100, but I really want to make sure that I'm actually making £100 and I can guarantee that, i.e. I know it for a fact. I'm not thinking I made £100, but I know for a fact that I made £100. And then we look at other things. So it might be growing your revenue from £100 to £500. It might be looking at your sourcing. It might be looking at VAs, looking at cost control, looking at time management, efficiencies, account health, different business models, wholesale, OA, RA, doing different types of flips and sourcing and how you do that. There's so much you can look at, but what we're looking to do is to have your big goal, where you want to be, understand how much time we can commit towards that big goal, and then break it down into very manageable chunks that you can achieve each one of these, and you focus just on that, and you step forward, you step up, you step up, you step up, working towards that bigger goal. Now, this all sounds great, and it is. It's a much easier way of doing it because we can be so overwhelmed. But there's one question I always start with once I kind of define that kind of what's your big goal, your time, and where you're at. And that question is very much based around let's talk about your numbers, let's talk about your accounts. Now, the reason why I start with this is it's the most important part of our business. As if your business isn't making money, it isn't a business, it isn't going to survive. We have to make money to survive. So, when I ask people about their Amazon accounts and their businesses, I think you'd be amazed at the amount of people who don't truly understand where the business is at. And this is super, super important, because if you don't understand where your business is at right now, how do you know if what you're doing is making a positive impact or a negative impact? And if you're going to change anything, i.e. you're going to hire a VA or we're going to do something, how do you know if that's going to have a positive impact or a negative impact? Because my God, we all want to get to that goal, but if we can't understand where we are right now and what we're about to do, how that affects where we currently are right now, then why are we doing it? It just sounds stupid. It's like, I'm in my car, I'm driving towards Scotland, and I'm in London, I'm driving towards Scotland, but I don't really know where I am, and I might take a left or a right. You're like, well, that's just a bit silly. You wouldn't do that. You'd say, hey, before we take a left or a right or do increase speed, let's just stop. Let's figure out where we are, and then we know if we're going in the right direction. So with your accounts, it tells you where you are on the map, and it tells you how you're performing. Now, there are 5 things I ask for people from their accounts. So I ask this straight off the bat, and I ask them about their information. And I challenge you to ask you, do you know this? So, the first one I ask is quite simple. What is your top line revenue? This is just sales. This has nothing to do with any costs or anything. This is literally the number you get off here. And I'll ask them to give me these 5 bits of information for the last 3 months. So for each month. So I'd ask them, what's your top line revenue for all your sales on your Amazon business for the last 3 months? So month 1, month 2, month 3, and I want to know what they are. The next part I'd ask them is, what is your profit after all costs associated with those sales? So that would be, what's your profit after Amazon fees, FBA fees, the cost of the goods sold, UPS fees, prep fees? How much are you making after that? So it's called your gross profit. So you've got revenue, gross profit. Then the next figure I'm asking them is, what's your cost of goods? So how much did you sell, not buy, but sell in that period? So for each month, how much did you sell? And you kind of need to know that to know your gross profit. So you should know those two. And that's really important, because once you understand your gross profit and your cost of goods, you understand what your ROI is. Now, we all say we source at like 30% ROI, but we all understand as well that we buy stock, it goes in, and we sourced it at 30% ROI, but hey, you know what, they're penny under prices, it cuts the profit. So what we're looking to say is, while we source at 30% ROI, when we actually sell it, our accounts are telling us we're achieving a 20% ROI. So I look for, what's your revenue, gross profit, cost of goods, and then as a result of that, your ROI actual. And then I ask them, what are your fixed costs? So can you list me every single one of the costs that your business has to incur? Now, fixed costs are things like Amazon selling account, tactical arbitrage, FBA wizard, sourcing software. These are costs which do not change regardless of how much revenue you do. These might be like Repricer Express. They might be FBA Multitool, Buybot Pro, for example. They might be accounting fees, things you just have to pay. So I'll ask someone, can you write me or tell me exactly what they all are, tell me all the costs and what they are. So I'll ask them to know, what is your fixed costs? So I'm after revenue, gross profit, cost of goods sold, and in turn we're figuring out the ROI, fixed costs, and then finally I'm asking them, what is your net profit? And I'd ask that as a percentage. If they don't know it as a figure, a percentage, that's fine. If cash value is not a problem. But this is how much money you physically can put in your pocket at the end of each month. So net profit. And this is super important, because this is the one figure we care about. Because this one figure is how much money you take home. And this is probably the figure that's going to get you to where your goal is. And everything you do is ultimately going to affect this one figure. Net profit. So with these 5 bits of information, I can understand if you understand your accounts. Now, You might not know them off the top of your head, but generally, if you're looking to run your business, you probably want to know how much revenue you're making. You probably want to know exactly how much net profit you're making on average. It's going to change every month, not a problem, but it's about an average. And that change is what you're looking at. So, oh my God, it's changed this month versus last month. And then the question is why? Why has it gone up? Why has it gone down? And what happened? And if you can, what you're trying to do is trying to get it better. So, revenue, gross profit, and then the other one I really look at is ROI. And there's the kind of ideas. And then once you understand those and really know them, then what you can do is you can really start dissecting your business, understanding it, and tweaking and changing and setting little goals to improve little bits of your business, which will increase your overall business, whether it be revenue and profit. Now, this all kind of sounds good and I'm talking to you, but there's a lot of information to take in what I've just said. So what I'm going to do now is just share with you an example that I've created already. Now, what I do is I use an accountant, I have A2X, I even have a bookkeeper, and also as well, I have linked my books. So I spend quite a bit on accounting. But even after all of that, even with A2X, I'll still very much like to get the figures at the end of each month and put them into Excel and just really make sure that I understand what's going on. And also the reason why I like putting them in Excel is I can start changing them, because I'm not only looking at last month, I'm looking at, oh, if I can change this number, how does that affect my overall business? And Excel allows you to do that, and it's really good to get a feel for your business. So here's a spreadsheet that I created. Should we say, this is a typical example that you might use. Now, this spreadsheet, and I'll talk you through each section of it, is based on a non-VAT seller. If you're VAT registered, you'll understand that there are certain elements you want to change. But this is for, you should say, your more beginner Amazon seller who's not currently VAT registered. Now, we've got top line revenue, which is quite simply how much money you've sold or how much money you've made from Amazon, stock sold, revenue. And that's on your Seller Central app that comes through every month that you'll see. So how much money you've made. Now there are two types of costs we have. We have variable costs and we have fixed costs. And I like to break my accounts down into these two sections. And the reason is quite simply is the fact that as you make more money, i.e. if you go from £5,000 to £10,000, there are going to be costs which are like FBA fees, the stock you sold, loads of other fees, which are going to increase. Because the more you sell, the more of these costs go up. But then there's going to be other costs, and obviously, ultimately, there's going to be the less you sell, the less the costs are going to be. But then there are other costs, and they're called fixed costs. Now, these costs you have to pay regardless of whether you did £10,000 or £10 million. They're going to be the same cost regardless. So if one month I went from doing £1,000 to the next month doing £4,000, that fixed cost is going to remain the same regardless. And the reason why I like to break them into these two sections is what you're looking to do is to keep your fixed costs as small as possible, and then variable costs again work on, but then you understand that as you grow your revenue, those costs are going to increase as well. So let's look at these in detail. So we have gross revenue, which is the Amazon income. So this is quite simply how much money did I make last month in Amazon. Then I talk about gross profit. So we talked about gross profit or gross margin, and that was one of the second thing we talked about. But to work that out, we need to understand what's our variable costs. So these are things like the Amazon referral fee for selling on the Amazon platform, FBA fees. So how much are the FBA fees that cost you to ship from Amazon's warehouses to the customer? Then we have cost of goods. Now a lot of people will use the figure which something like Sellerboard or accounting software will give you, which is, i.e. I've sold £5,000 worth of stock and here's the stock that has actually gone towards to make that 5,000. But what you're really looking for is to say, now that's good, that's the stock which is sold and we know is sold, but stock goes missing. There's problems in Amazon, there's problems in our warehouses, everything goes missing. My God, if you keep stock at home, it might be that your kid goes and takes something and then hides it and you never know about it. So what I do and what all big businesses will do is they will every month, at the beginning of the month, they will do, or end of the month, or beginning of the month, the next day, it's called a stock closing figure. So how much stock closed last month. So on the first of every month, we count all the stock which is in our Amazon warehouse, and you can do that by downloading a report from Amazon. You can then also as well count how much stock you've got in your house or in your prep center, and also any other stock that has either been shipped from the supplier to your warehouse or your house, also from your warehouse to Amazon that is not yet been checked in. So you account for all those things, and you add up all the value of that stock at cost. That is how much you paid for it. It doesn't matter how much you think you can sell it for, but it's how much you paid for it. So that's physical cash value. Now that's your opening stock. Now let's say, for example, that's £10,000. Now what I might say is it's £10,000 that I opened this, or last month I closed with. So at the beginning of the month I had £10,000 in stock everywhere. Then throughout the month I've purchased £5,000 worth of stock. So that's £5,000 worth of stock I've purchased. Now if I sold nothing, I would expect to finish the month with £15,000 worth of stock. 10,000 plus the 5,000, so 15,000. Now that's how much I expect to close with, but when I do my stock the next month, I'm not going to have £15,000 because I know that I've sold stock. So say for example, if I expected to have 15, but I'd actually sold £2,000 worth of stock, I'd expect to close with £13,000 worth of stock. So my 10 plus 5 minus the £2,000 sales makes £13,000 stock. But here's the thing. What we don't realise is that stock goes missing. And when you do this, i.e. you open, you add in the purchase, and then you take into consideration your close, you're going to work out what's the true value. So if I did open plus my purchases minus what I sold, I'd get 13,000. But if I open my next month on 12,900, then I know that £100 worth of stock has gone missing. And so for me, instead of saying I've sold £2,000 worth of stock in that period, I'm now saying I've sold 2,000, and let's put it in here, 2,100. It's not saying I've sold, but that's how much stock's been used, physically used in that period. So the next bit I talk about is reimbursement. So we have refunds, reimbursements from Amazon coming back in, also reimbursements from Amazon stock that's got maybe lost the previous month that we've now claimed, i.e. that £100 has now come back in. Prep fees, whether it be in your external warehouse or in your home, what are those costs? Obviously we've got shipping fees from UPS to go from your home or your warehouse to Amazon, and then we've got storage fees. Now all these fees are associated with the stock we buy and sell, which are associated with the revenue. So the more stock we have, the more stock we sell, hopefully the more stock we sell, the more revenue we'll have, and they vary. That fee will increase or decrease depending on how much our sales are, hence why they're variable costs. So we add them all up and we get a feel for what our total costs are. And we take our total cost from the gross revenue and we get a total gross profit. So this is profit after the cost of goods sold and anything associated with that sale. Now for us, we can look at it as a percentage, which is not a problem. But again, the thing that I'm really interested in is understanding is what your ROI is. So if I put this back to what it was, it's 2,300. Now, this is saying the gross ROI is quite simply, what is my gross profit? 1,116 divided by 2,300. Now, the reason why I do this is it's really interesting to look at. Because, say for example, if this was my business, I might be sourcing at a 60% ROI. So I never go below 60%. And you're like, man, that's great, like super well done. But when I come into it and I look at my accounts are telling me that while I'm buying, expecting to achieve a 60% ROI, what I'm actually achieving is a 44.2% ROI. And this is super important because if you're on the lower end, i.e. you're looking at, say, maybe buying at 20% ROI, but when you do your accounts, you start saying, oh my god, I'm actually achieving a 10% ROI, that's going to be a big area for you to look at and say, maybe I need to start changing how my business model works, or maybe I'd look at different avenues. But this is the realization between what I think I'm doing before I buy and what I'm actually achieving. So that gross ROI figure there, really interesting. So then we come into what's known as fixed costs. Now, I break down my costs into here, for example, my costs, so Tom, myself, and also my VA costs. So if you're running your business full time, I would put a figure in there. So you might put in like 702, for example, however much your accountant or you feel comfortable with. Again, I'm not an accountant, so don't take it as professional advice. This is just an idea. So if you're full time in your Amazon business, pay yourself a set amount, and then you can pay yourself a dividend on top of that if that's what your accountant recommends. But for you, I always recommend you need to take some money out of the business, because if you can't survive, how is your business going to survive? And hey, your business has got to support you, so you're a cost in your business. You need to get paid. But if you're doing this part-time, you might not put any costs in. And then if you've got any VAs, you can put those figures in as well. So we're going to say 0 for the moment. And then on top of that, we have other costs. So these are really like subscriptions. It might be like accounting, so £100 for my accountant, £20 for the seller for like accounting software. My bank might charge me some money. I might have subscriptions in my sourcing, like Tactical Arbitrage, Repricer Express, FBA Multi-Tool, loads of different things there. I might have a website and I might put my telephone through my business because I'm using it to contact suppliers, the cost associated with that. I might also as well have my Amazon seller fee, which is £30 per month. And then there are all my fixed costs that regardless of how much I sell, I have to pay. I can sell 10,000 or 1,000, but I still got to pay these costs. So we add them up. And then finally, we look at our gross profit and we take away all the total costs. And that will give us the figure of our net profit. So this is the figure that I always ask people, what is your net profit? And your net profit is the figure you can put, the amount of money you can put in your pocket at the end of the month. And that's super important to know because, my God, every change you make is going to affect that one figure. And you've got to understand if that change is a good change or a bad change because you want to do more of it or you want to stop doing it. So we talk about a physical cash value there. The one thing I really look at is what's the margin, so the net margin. And the reason why I like that figure is when you're looking at I've sold £100 today on Amazon through my Seller Central, I can go, my net margin is 12.2%, so I'm going to make £12.22 net profit in my pocket today. You're like, great, you know where you stand. It doesn't matter if you're not happy with that figure, but at least you know where you stand. And if you know where you stand, you can then change the situation. But if you don't know where you are on the map, how do you know if you go left or right, it's going to get you to where you want to be? So clarity in your business is key. So I use a spreadsheet very similar to this, which basically just breaks down my variable costs and my fixed costs, which will allow me to understand where my business is at, but also as well, the reason why I really, really like doing on Excel, and I'd recommend it to anyone, just once a month, put them in, is the fact that you can start changing things. So you can say, oh, maybe I want to hire a VA for £150. How's that going to affect my margin? Well, I'm going from 11 or 12.2 down to 9.2. So then I need to increase my revenue. So I want them to do maybe 6,500. But then you can start tweaking everything and you can start playing around with your different figures and you can start seeing, here's what I want to do, how's that going to affect my business? And once you understand that, you start making decisions which you can start seeing what impact your decisions are going to have before you've done them. And then you start identifying problems and solving those problems before you even envision them. Because the last thing you want to do is make a change today and then wait a month and go, oh my God, I've just lost loads of money I didn't realise. Whereas if you have it in Excel and if you play with it, you can make those changes and think about the impact of them and then mitigate the problems or understand if it's going to be a problem or a success and really help grow your business. So that's a little, should we say, Google Sheet or Excel spreadsheet that I use, which really supports my business. I take it from zero, I put it in there and I play with it and I go, yeah, I'm happy with that, or no, I want to work on this area. And then that allows me to set my goals for the next month. But in our coaching calls, and what we do is not just solely around accounts. That's a really good part. Like, we need to clarify that situation. But coming back, we always look at that top goal where you want to be. We understand how much resources you have, i.e. time. And then we say, let's put in place different or small steps to get you where you want to be. So that might be looking at sourcing, looking at stock control, cost control, hiring VAs, looking at outsourcing work, automation, revenue growth. There are so many different areas you can look at that can really impact your business. But what we do is we measure that impact through our accounts, and we measure that impact through how much money we make and how much time we have. So that's a little bit about the coaching calls that I've done and what I've talked about. And I think, look, for anyone watching this, there's a lot of information in there, and it's a lot of stuff that you can take back for your business and have a think about. So really define, do you understand your goal? Do you understand how much time you allocate towards that goal? And do you actually use that time efficiently? And then do you understand where you currently are on that journey? Do you have clarity in that journey through your accounts? And if you can answer yes to all them, then you're well on your way to getting where you want to be. And whether it be someone like me or someone else who's going to help support you in that journey by setting really good targeted goals and a step-by-step action plan to get you where you want to be, that can be really useful. Or you can do it yourself, and there's no harm in that at all. But it's about having clarity, having direction, and knowing where you want to be and going towards that. So hopefully I've shared some really good information, and if you've got any questions, drop a message down below, or like our video, or go to Seller Tools Facebook group, or another Facebook group, Fast Track FBA, which is what I run, and Owl Carton runs Seller Tools. And if you've got any other questions, get in contact with us. We are here to answer questions. We've been doing Amazon for years. We love it. And hey, these problems that you're probably facing right now, we're all facing. So don't worry about it. We're a community, and it's a very big marketplace, and we always help. And I love that about Amazon. So yeah, if you've got any questions, get in contact. And I'd just like to say, look, for anyone watching this, thank you so much for, either if you've watched the webinar and you didn't get a chance to watch the replay, or maybe you didn't get a chance to watch the webinar and you're watching now the YouTube, that's really good as well. And thank you to Owl Carton for taking the time to host me on his site and to talk about that. That was a real pleasure as well. And if there's anything else, just get in contact with us. We're generally a great bunch of people, so ask us any questions. But from me, Thomas Parkinson at Fast Track FBA, thank you so much for your time, and hopefully see you soon. Bye bye.